here tonight. And here is a player to look out for as well for the ECU side, Angeles Alderete. She is a really, really good player out of Florida, and one to watch here in this match without a doubt as we're underway at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. ECU going to get the opening point. That is Ellie Paint from the left side, the outside hitter out of Auburn, Alabama. And it's 1-0 ECU as they gain the advantage early on.
And I think that's something that you want to, the ECU Pirates want to see early on, which is serving tough and trying to get Pitt a little bit out of system.
Alderete, the AAC preseason player of the year, just a junior. Kelsey, I'm thinking the thing to watch early on here, some new bodies on the floor, not totally unfamiliar with playing for that Pitt side, but how does the chemistry work early on when you come off such a big match against Penn State as well, where everything seemed to be flowing very well as Pitt has its first point?
Yeah, I definitely think the chemistry is something to look at, specifically from the setter position. You know, those reps that you're getting in practice, the timing, especially with the middles, with the faster tempo sets, that's what you've got to be looking for out of Nisa. But also, you know, I think you have to rely on, you know, I think Coach Fisher wants to get some of his depth in here and see what they can do when they have the jersey on and not just at practice.
Valeria Vasquez Gomez will serve for Pitt, a 6-year player, came back for that extra year, and boy, Pitt is glad that she did. But you see Fran McBride, and we highlighted her right off the start, that long, lengthy swing that she has, the Mississippi State transfer, and she gives ECU the 2-1 lead. Pitt mishandling the serve. That's Bayless, one of the new pieces in the starting lineup. Can't handle that. And a good serve there by Laura Uyar.
I think you got to think that probably is part of the game plan. When you see some new faces in, you want to serve at them and test them early on.
That is probably a big part of this too, getting those new faces in, kind of in the flow of things early on. Get that lather going, the rhythm going for those players in particular.
Yeah, and you want them to be ready if they were ever needed in maybe a more important match or a match down the year. You never know what's going to happen with injuries, or if someone's having an off day, you want them to be comfortable in the lineup.
Kat Flood, grad student. Again, this is a team in Pittsburgh that has certainly some young talent on it. They had a couple of really good freshmen last year, including Olivia Babcock, who you see right there. But they also mix in that depth with their age as well. They're a balanced team when it comes to the age of production throughout their lineup under head coach Dan Fisher. To that right pin, and there is McBride again. She has looked really, really good early, and be faithful here from ECU, loving it as you see Dan Fisher. What an amazing job, coming up on 300 career victories. National semi-finalists a year ago with this Pitt program. They have become one of the true powers in the country under Dan Fisher. And he was, I think, pleased with what happened on Wednesday night, but told us, you know what, he's a coach and it's his job to find the bad. And that's sort of what he took away from that match, was they still had things that he wanted to improve on. He did not want a letdown after that big win over Penn State.
Which does have to be really hard because, you know, the emotions after that type of a win, you were on such a high, but then you do have to kind of remain focused and understand that the goal is much bigger than just one big matchup, but it is, you know, for the long term, for the season, and a deep run into the tournament. Pretty
good start for Olivia Babcock, the reigning National Freshman of the Year, a first-team All-American as a first-year player, and what a rocket of a serve. But it's handled by ECU, and a scramble here from Pitt, but they're going to get to it defensively, and it's Bayless. A really nice work, and that is exactly who Pitt is. Even when things look dark and they look down and out, they find a way to get that ball from getting to the floor, and they deliver points.
And that's kind of all that small ball that, you know, we talked to Coach Fisher about being good at all of the little things, you know, playing scrappy, off the block, off of a block touch, always being ready for that next ball.
reigning ACC Offensive Player of the Week. As you see more of that scramble work there from Pitt, but it sets up McBride, or rather Ollie Huff from, or no, that is McBride rather, on that far side, and she's able to come back and get the kill for ECU. That was Northcross rather, Carlia Northcross, not bad. Memphis, Tennessee native. 54 kills entering tonight's action for hers. The serve will go out long there for Ellie Pate. See Adler Augustine, 5th season as the head coach. Had a nice talk with him before the match, and he was pretty real with us. I thought he said, you know what, we know we're playing a really good team. We know they're the #1 team in the country, but we can't get caught up in them being really good. He said they're going to do some really, really special things out there. We know that. We just can't get caught up and dismayed when that happens. And so far, Kelsey, I think they've done a pretty good job handling it.
Yeah, I think he's done a good job preparing them. They do seem very composed out there. You know, they don't, you know, they're not seeing the moment as too big right now, which is what you want to see out of your team. You want to be calm. You want to be under control. And here's the thing, you can only worry about your own side, control what you can control on the floor.
There's a service ace for ECU as they take the lead. The Pirates with a nice start here, and they've been able to have some success on that service line. That time, Carlia Northcross had the kill a few moments ago. She comes back with an ace. Another good serve, and Pitt, can they get this one over? No, they cannot, as the sprawling effort by Klicka. I mean, Klicka comes up short.
And if you are ECU, you have to be thrilled with how tough this team is serving right now. You see the movement on that float serve right there. This is what you want. You don't want Pitt to be able to set all 3 of their hitters or their 2 hitters and a back row player. You want them to be uncomfortable. You want those passes 10, 12, 15 feet off the net so that you can stay in control on the defensive side of the ball.
Pitt brings Bree Kelly in, a Florida transfer. Got injured at the beginning of September last year, missed the entirety of that season, essentially, and they are really happy to have her depth back as that's worked to that right side, and a big kill there for Ollie Huff. Just came back from injury, did Huff, the 6'1" sophomore from Suffolk, Virginia, and a big kill there. ECU with kind of a surprising start here, a 9-7 lead. The Pirates playing very well on the road, and that bench, you see them back there, Kelsey, they are energized. They feel really good about the way that they're playing right now.
Oh, you've got to be excited right now, and I love how they are using their right sides, who are incredibly athletic early and often.
It goes to the back row, and they'll get the kill there from Babcock, Olivia Babcock, the LA native.
And even though they're running, you know, each team, Pitt is running a 5-1 with 1 setter and 5 hitters, and ECU is running a 6-2. Both of them have a real emphasis on setting the weak side, which is that right side of the court. It's a hard position to defend.
Buzla Tepe to serve, pretty good serve through ECU off. They're just gonna have to try to play it back over the net calmly, but Alderete just one-hands it into the net, and Pitt coming back with the last 2 to tie things up. And both of these teams, should note, defensively have been really good this year. ECU 6th in the country in opponent hitting percentage, and the Panthers entering 4th in the nation in that category. So defense has been really good. The offenses aren't bad either, and we've seen that early on. And there's a little bit of that defense, and there's a little bit of Bree Kelly as well.
And that's somewhere where both teams and both coaches have talked about playing with an emphasis, is being relentless on defense. We talked with Coach Augustine with it before the game, but Coach Fisher feels the exact same way. That's what they want one of their team's identity to be, is that tough defense both up front and behind the block.
Buzla Tepe still on the service line as Pitt has scored the last 3. Good work by Klicka to get to that ball. Vasquez Gomez got it. Mentioned that defense. Look at the comparisons right there. East Carolina 122, the opponent hitting percentage, and Pitt 116. We talked to Ryan Tice this week as well, the head coach of Marquette. They're going to be here on Sunday, and he said, we played Pitt last year. They were the best defensive team we played all season. You see some of that right there as that free ball put down by Bree Kelly. I think that says a lot because they're probably a little bit better defensively this year than they were last year, and they were among the very elite last season. So a timeout taken by East Carolina. Pitt on a run with a 3-point lead.
From me.
South Carolina earlier this week, but what a start it has been for Adler Augustine's team, and they feel really confident about the way that they're playing early on, trying to not let that non-conference loss to the Gamecocks dismay them, but I think they've responded in a major way. Kelsey, they only had 9 points in the last 2 sets apiece against South Carolina. They have 9 points already here in set 1 against the #1 team.
Yeah, you have to be thrilled about how you're playing early on, and I love what Coach Augustine said about, yeah, we touched on it that night, maybe the next morning, and then we moved on. And you got to be ready to play the next game. Quick turnaround into this game. There's no reason to dwell on a bad game.
Pitt with a 13-9 lead. They're on a 6-0 run here. Buzletepe, after the kill by Babcock, has been the mainstay here during this run. Another good serve. That one handcuffing Uyar. And trying to get that one over through that Pitt block, but not a lot on it for Alderete. And Bree Kelly has been really good since checking in. She has been a menace there in the middle. 14-9 now, the lead building for Pitt. A slow start for the Panthers, but they have kicked it into gear, the #1 team in the country. They work it out to that left side, and that is Fran McBride again. She has had a nice start. She breaks the Pitt run. A 7-0 scoring run comes to an end, and Dan Fisher, I think, not happy with this defense there.
No, and I think, on the ECU side, that's going to be your go-to. Fran McBride has got to be the one that you're getting the ball to when you need a kill. With her length and her size, you've got to get her the ball early and often.
Pitt right now hitting 500. It's going to go up since I just said that, as Olivia Babcock working that left pin, able to get it to drop. And the Panthers up by 5. ECU right now hitting 50, 0-5-0. And the Panthers with that kill up over 500 here in this opening set. They work it McBride's way again. Not a bad idea, but Pitt ready for it that time. And a cross-court attack by Bayless that will go out. Missed it over the near line. Pitt was looking for a tip there, but didn't get the call.
Great set by Emmy Klicka from the back row there, off of the defense by Buzletepe.
Another player from Turkey, like Buzletepe, and Uyar serving that one up, but it's going to go out long. She's a Wichita State transfer. Is Lara Uyar. See Adler Augustine there. Service errors, something that Coach Augustine really told us they needed to cut down. He said, we can't give away a lot of points against this team. They're #1 for a reason. We have to be clean out there. There's a good serve. It's going to send the Pirates scrambling. Pitt works it right to the middle. And that's Ryla Jones. How great was she on Wednesday against Penn State? Had a career-high 7 kills. Kelsey, she hit .636 against the Nittany Lions, and when she gets it there, you're going to hit it a high percentage.
She has been great all season, coming in as a freshman, and yes, she did show up in January, so she does have some extra reps and, some continuity with the setters, but how she has been playing is very similar to what we saw last year with both Olivia Babcock and Tori Stafford coming in, getting put into their lineup right away, and not really looking like a freshman out there.
And Dan Fisher said, look, we don't hide from her. She got here in January last year without that time, without that extra time, being around the team for that deep run that they made to the national semifinal. He said she might not be where she is right now. She'd be good, but she wouldn't be where she is right now. But that extra time with her was really beneficial. So she's sort of like a super freshman now, in a sense, as Pitt extends their lead to 19-11. Another timeout taken here by East Carolina. 19-11, the Panthers on top, surging here in this first set.
And I think if you're ECU, you've got to really be honing in on the basics. And you're seeing there, you know, the only way to stop Ryla Jones with this impressive resume is by serving tough and trying to get the ball away from her, because she's hitting .420 on the season. Those numbers are insane, but also you got to think about it. The only way to get the middles out is by serving really tough and trying to get those passes off the net, which is what the ECU Pirates are trying to do, but it's hard because you got to play such a balanced game with serving. You want it to be tough, but you don't want to be missing a ton because that's free points. It's a really hard balance to play against a team as talented as Pitt is.
And the problem, too, with it is Pitt has shown to be maybe the best team in the country at playing that out-of-system ball. They scramble for everything. They dive for the loose balls. They're just incredibly composed. And, you know, watching that match Wednesday night against Penn State, you could really see it. There were times where they got thrown off by the talent of the Nittany Lions, but they still found a way to keep the ball alive and stay alive and win points out of it as well. And they're just they're off to a really, really red-hot start, and I think a lot of it has been on the way their defense has played very early here in the season.
Yeah, and that good defense transitions into quality offense. When you're getting those great ups, when Emmy Klicka is playing as good as she has this year, that's really what's allowing this offense to always be, you know, feeling comfortable, being able to set all three hitters when the setter's back row, and both front hitters whenever the setter is front row.
19-11 as Kat Flood with the serve. That one, look out, a free ball up, and that one set down by Ryla Jones again. Really easy to have a high hitting percentage when they're lobbed up there for you. You see the defensive improvement for Pitt. Again, they were really, really good last year. You see the opponent hitting percentage. It's taken even a better step forward in the very early going here. Just in a 4-year stretch from being 96th to, I think a lot of people would say, the best defensive team in college volleyball. Speaks to, I think, what Dan Fisher has been able to build here probably the most.
I think anybody's going to put them in the top conversation for best defense. They block extremely well. They have big bodies up front that are super athletic, and then behind the block, they have phenomenal defenders, good at reading, good at making moves on the ball, always willing to kind of put their body on the floor when needed.
Pitt getting it to the middle again. That one was a little bit off for Jones, but no problem. She's able to adjust in midair and get the kill.
And that's a little bit of a tight pass. Nisa does a phenomenal job of pulling it off, and then, yeah, at that point, it's just kind of a wash for Ryla, but she does a good job of putting it, you know, in a difficult place for the Pirates to get to it.
Yeah, the body control there by Buzla Tepe. Able to stay off the net. There's the big serve by Babcock, handled by ECU, comes right back Babcock's way. Bayless turned right back over on the pass. Pitt working it out to Bayless, and she has another kill. Suddenly Pitt up double figures. They have played 21 sets this year. They have won 21 sets this year. And in 9 of those 21, they have won by double digits. That is what they lead by right now, with Babcock on the service line. ECU, it's going to be out long for Ellie Pate. Pate, great athlete, comes from an athletic family. Her dad played football at Auburn and played for the Chargers. Her mom, a Boston Marathon runner as well, but a little too much athleticism behind that swing, and it goes out long, and now Pitt 2 points away here. Babcock will serve one into the net.
And it's kind of the same thing with her serve. You know, it's as aggressive as it is hard to, she is very consistent with it, but it is hard to make every single serve. When you are that aggressive with your serve, you're going to have those misses.
Kenzie Beckham will step in to serve here for ECU. It's that risk reward, right? Most of the time, you're going to be rewarded for it if you're Babcock, but there is going to be the occasional error. As they get it back to Bayless, comes back over the net, and right on the money again is Ryla Jones.
And again, just another game where, as a freshman, she's making her impact very known and her presence felt in there.
So the crowd coming to its feet As Pitt will bring in Dylan Griffin to serve. Junior out of California. All that noise and then a hush comes over the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Zach to the middle and a quick delivery there for Carlia Northcross. But not gonna work, and Pitt takes the opening set. Points have been won by the Panthers. Buzla-Tepe, second on the team in assists behind Rachel Fairbanks, who has not played yet tonight. And ECU gonna break that Pitt run as they use Ellie Paint from that left side.
And that's something that Coach Augustine talked about before the match. You know, one way to beat a really good team, and one of the things he wants to emphasize is speed. Getting the ball up to the net quick, getting the ball to the pins quick.
Elle Jackson brought in to serve, wearing that libero shirt, but Olivia Babcock ends that quickly. Babcock strong here early on. That is kill number 6 for the just really impressive sophomore. Her and Stafford, who has not played yet tonight. The two of them, insane freshman years. Babcock, the national. Here in this first set and change.
Nice up there by Valeria Vasquez Gomez, but then that ECU block was able to set up nice and easily on Blair Bayless.
Mackenzie Jefferson. The serve there. Pitt gonna go back to Bayless. She was blocked before. They're able to get the block up on that, but Pitt's still gonna win the point. Take the 3-2 lead. You like that, Kelsey? A player gets blocked, a little momentum, they go right back Bayless's way. Almost like a confidence booster type of play there for the Panthers.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you don't ever, especially as a pin hitter and like on the outside here, you don't ever want to feel like you are going to back down to the opponent, and that's kind of some of the things that Coach Fisher has talked about as well, being a team that swings away and is super aggressive.
Dan Fisher told us getting Bayless A in and B involved would be a priority for them here tonight. Great play on that back line by Vasquez Gomez. Saving effort there. Can Pitt keep it alive once again? Babcock, big swing. What great defensive work by Pitt there to earn that point.
And these are the things. Getting these touches off the block, it is not easy. You have to be ready to react. You've got to be ready to move, but those are the things that make championship teams.
It looked like Bayless there, who read that ball where it was going to go by Vasquez Gomez. She was heading that way before she even saw the ball come off the hand of Valeria Vasquez Gomez, as there is another point one for already been for them, the 7-1 opening to their season. Line drive serve. Some confusion there. Buzla-Tepe. She ran into Babcock, but Pitt able to get it back. She says 50-50 is more like 60-40, maybe 75-25 when it's Ryla Jones.
Yeah, these jousts at the net where you're seeing two blockers, one from each team going up at the same time, I would definitely say they're favoring Pitt a little bit on basically every matchup you have.
Well, it's interesting. We saw early on there, Buzla-Tepe runs into Babcock. Maybe some of that chemistry that they're still working on, but they end up getting the point. Now she sets for another kill. They win the 2 points despite the miscommunication that was thrown in there. And I think that's kind of what Dan Fisher probably wants to iron out here. Look, if Fairbanks goes down, if Rachel Fairbanks goes down for a little while, you need a player like Nisa Buzlatepe, and she's got a couple of games under her belt now with this team, but the more that you can get, the better in the long run. It's going to be a long season. Pitt hopes certainly ahead.
Yeah, and you want your depth to be comfortable. You want them to be in there and feel comfortable. You don't want them to feel tight and, scared to make an error or anything. You want them to be in there and playing their game. And this is the perfect time to sort out some of these issues.
Look at this defense again from Pitt. They're going to get it over with Klicka on that third hit. Vasquez Gomez, great defensively on that back line. And how about the Panthers? That is the embodiment of what they do so well. They just defend every inch of this court.
That is exactly what it is. Look at that. You get blocked. There's girls there crashing to cover. And that's where you get to feel so comfortable swinging away, because you feel like there are girls behind you that have your back, that are there for, like I always call cover, kind of like an offensive rebound. You're getting those second chance opportunities.
That one goes out. That was a great look from that end zone camera there, because you could see the ECU bench in the background, and they thought they had it, right? They thought that point was theirs. They were half celebrating, and then reality set in that ball was kept alive by Pitt. It's deflating, right, as an opposing team when you think you do something to win a point, and suddenly you're on your heels defending again.
And honestly, Josh, sometimes I think those long rallies with those types of plays where you felt like you were in control and lose those ones are almost more defeating than one big pass set hit. The one big pass set hit you can move on from, but those long ones that leave you a little out of breath, those ones are the ones that kind of eat away at you.
Panthers doubling up East Carolina. ECU picked 4th in the AAC this year. Rice was picked to win the conference. Wichita State 2nd, then South Florida 3rd, and then the Pirates after that. They'll be in contention for sure as Babcock delivers. Babcock with 8 putaways so far as the Panthers extend their lead to 5.
And I mean, that's just really hard to defend. I mean, she's coming from the back row, but from where she takes off and where she lands, it almost looks like a front row attack.
Dan Fisher told us that their ability to use the back row this season has been probably the biggest difference for this team. They feel confident no matter who is on the floor and wherever they are, they feel confident in what they're doing offensively.
And it also just makes you more dynamic as a team, so that you know when you do have maybe a pass that's not on the net, or you're struggling to get, a 3-ball pass, you have girls in the back row that are always ready to attack and can kind of bring an extra element to your offense.
Peyton Evanstead in to serve here. The team leader in assists this season. As that's off to Vasquez Gomez, and can she keep it alive again? She's heading towards the crowd, stayed composed. That time, ECU gonna get the point.
And I think the two of the 3 hitters that you were seeing in the front row right now, in Angeles Alderete, and you have Fran McBride, this is the rotation that they want to stay in. This is where they want to go on a run-in with those 2 up front.
Pirates had a 5-set victory over Campbell last week. Alderete was fantastic in that one as Pitt gets the point there. She had 13 kills, 19 digs, and 6 service aces against Campbell last week.
And she is very much their workhorse, their total attacks on the year. She has 43 more than the next player closest to her. She is the one who's going to get a vast majority of the attacks in probably every match for them.
They go to her now. Behind the line, she's able to play it over. Here comes Vasquez Gomez, but blocked in front. How about that? Looks like Alicia Watson, another one of those players returning from injury, was in the vicinity as well as Fran McBride.
And that's got to feel good if you're the Pirates to get one of those blocks to land. You've been getting good touches, but Pitt's been doing such a good job covering. Getting one of those to land feels good.
East Carolina certainly has had their nice moments here defensively. They've made Pitt work a number of times. As that time, they're not able to stop Babcock. She's in double figures in kills now with 10. As it will be Buzla-Tepe on the service line. Texas A&M transfer, where they happy to have her. Haiti Tua'a is out for the year for Pitt, who's going to be their secondary setter with Fairbanks, and in steps Buzla-Tepe, and she has been fantastic in that relief role. As Pitt adds on, the crowd loves it, so does the bench.
And ECU has had trouble with Buzla-Tepe at the service line in both sets now. She's a very tough server, but they also have, you know, Olivia Babcock, Bree Kelly, and Vasquez Gomez up front.
There's a block attempt. It's going to be in there for Babcock. That one hugging that line, but a nice block by Olivia Babcock.
And Babcock here going up by herself because Bree Kelly had to stay with her middle. And you see those hands pressing towards the 6 zone so that she can get that ball to land in play.
13-7. And we got a challenge by East Carolina on that play. I thought it was very tight. The replay, I think, showed that it was very tight as well. So we'll see if anything's able to be determined from that.
And if it was close, this is definitely, I think, a good point in the match to use a replay on. If you can get this point, get some momentum back your way. You've been playing well. You've got McBride up front right now. This is the time where you want to keep her up front for as long as possible.
ECU really battled in that first set. They were up 9-7. And then Pitt going on the big 18-4 run to close it out. As you see another look here. The other question is, does this ball maybe catch a piece of Pate on the way down? Right there. And is that in or out?
That's really close.
That's really close. I think on both accounts, that ball kind of looks like it changes direction off the maybe the back of the head of Pate, right? Again, there, but I don't know.
That's tough.
Just when you think you know what it's going to be, it's always the opposite. It feels like with instant replay.
Yeah, it feels like you're almost always gonna be wrong with
That one,
your guess
yeah,
is.
that one. That's as good of a guess as anybody's, but.
The original call of in is being overturned. The ball was out, point to East Carolina.
All right, so they have overturned the ruling. Yeah, that's very, very close. I think on that look down the line, it did look like the ball was right there, but maybe just a hair out. Lori Stahar, referee 2. Letting us know that. So the point to the Pirates, and Elle Jackson will serve, Louisville native. Babcock blocked, nicely blocked again. Carlia Northcross, she has been tough at the net. A number of blocks set up and delivered on for Northcross so far.
Yeah, this Pirates team is doing a phenomenal job up at the net and being physical with the Pitt Panthers.
She came into tonight 6th in the AAC in blocks per set. Working out to McBride. She's been a little quiet since a flurry of kills early on. Get it to her, and she gets it to go. A little momentum, the challenge working very successfully for Adler Augustine. His team has responded since the challenge. They cut it to 2. Jackson over, really good serve. 2 Panthers went down 4, Bayless and Klicka, and then a block again in front. Northcross delivers. McBride was there for some support, but right now Pitt struggling to get into a rhythm offensively very suddenly.
Northcross and McBride are doing a great job of sealing the tape, not letting any room for that ball to get through there.
Ball sent out right side. Vasquez Gomez kept alive by Jackson. Pitt going to give it a shot, and can Pitt win this? Look out as they go sprawling into the Pitt bench. And another point for the Pirates. They have come back to even things up here in set 2.
And all of this is really starting from their defense. You know, they've got a tough server back there, which is putting the Panthers a little bit on their heels, but then that front line is really doing their job helping out right now.
Babcock had to sort of pause there before she went into her jump, but good thing she did because it worked. Dan Fisher thrilled, by the way, with that.
Absolutely thrilled with what's going on right now.
Look at the emotion on his face. He is
beaming.
He is about as stoic as it comes on that sideline. And the tip works to perfection for Pitt. ECU suddenly they're finding ways to score, right? Whether it's plays like that, whether it's blocks. They've done some good things on the service line. They're finding ways here to hang tough against number 1.
Yeah, and you just got that double switch, which is kind of that 6-2 switch where you're getting new setter Mackenzie Jefferson. This is where you're going to be tested, I think, a little bit more. When McBride's in, I think they feel really comfortable.
So 13 all. They are going to look at this. Dan Fisher going to pull the challenge card. I had a feeling when we talked to Dan Fisher this week that not that he wanted adversity necessarily, but I feel like he sort of was hoping to maybe see some at some point, right? That he wanted to see how his team responded when faced with adversity, and they're getting some right now. He's had to teach, despite all of their wins, all of their set wins, he's had to teach through a lot of success so far, and he's had to teach lessons affiliated with that adversity.
Yeah, and it's hard too, because then you're also trying to really maintain that level of let's make sure we're staying focused, let's make sure we're staying.
The call is going to stand. The ball was down. The ball was down.
So the call will stand.
Oh, so they might have thought they had a pancake in there on the roll shot.
That ECU bench, they were loving it there during the review. They were dancing. They are very loose right now. That's Mackenzie Jefferson. That ball returned right back over, and once again it is Northcross who is able to deliver. You just can't leave a ball up there for her. And East Carolina has taken a 14-13 lead on the road against the Panthers. And that time they'll give it away. It's evened up.
And that's where you're seeing that balance. You know, you're trying to serve super tough so that they get out of system, which is where you get those overpasses where Northcross can get an easy kill out of. But that does come with some higher risk where you might be missing a couple more serves deep than you normally do.
Cat Flood in to serve here. 9 service aces entering the season, or entering the match, I should say, on the season for Flood. That ball going to be sent out, so a point to Pitt. So Panthers the first team to 15. So Pitt with the lead, 15-14, midway through the set. Back here at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Good crowd on hand here tonight. Not quite what they saw here in Pittsburgh on Wednesday night. 11,800 packed the Peterson Event Center. The largest attendance in program history. What an environment that was for that rivalry matchup, and Pitt kind of had their way with their rivals from Penn State in front of that massive crowd.
And you gotta love the numbers on these crowds, not just for the Panthers, but kind of all across volleyball right now. You are seeing these record-breaking numbers.
I saw Dan Fisher was asked about it afterwards, and he sort of deflected anything away from his team. He said, this is just sort of how volleyball's working. There's more and more people showing up across the country, but make no mistake, here in Pittsburgh, it has exponentially taken off the attendance per game. I mean, this place is just buzzing night in and night out when the Panthers play here. And right now, there's a little bit of restlessness in the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse with East Carolina having tied things up at 15. Another kill by Ellie Pate. She leads the team with 6 and a serve out. Service line, they've given away a couple of there. Otherwise, this could be much better for ECU.
Yet if you're Coach Augustine, it's hard because you definitely want these balls going in play, but also you know that if you give them easy balls and serve receive, that is just feeding right into Pitt's offensive system and big, impressive hitters.
Yeah, a little pick your poison there. There's a great serve up and down. That one nearly clipping one of the Final Four banners here in the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. It's way up in the rafters. Scrambling after that was Beckham.
And this topspin serve is hard to defend. You don't see it a ton. You're definitely seeing it more now in women's volleyball, but you do not see it a ton, so that also makes it a little harder to defend.
That's going to be a 50-50 ball back over. Ryla Jones was there for it, and good work by ECU to stay with that, and they win the point. They've played really well here in set 2.
Good timing there for Mackenzie Jefferson to kind of sneak that second ball over and try to steal a point for her team.
Carlia Northcross. She has had an impactful evening for sure, and there is Bayless who will get that point right back and make it a 2-point edge for Pitt.
And you don't see the off speed a ton from the Pitt Panthers. You had the tip there by Bayless. That's not something you see a lot of. They are very much a swing away team. But, you know, if you can catch the other team on their heels, that's an easy way to grab a point.
It's Griffin brought back in for the serve here for Pitt. McBride on the attempt. No dice there. Vasquez Gomez out. Missed across the grain. We've seen a lot on that Pitt bench. Coaching staff sort of looking at each other. They're trying to figure things out right now.
I don't think you can anticipate that this was what they were expecting coming into this match.
Well, particularly after they got on that great run in the first set, they have not exactly been able to put pedal to the metal here. As Evanstead with the serve back row, Babcock delivers. When in doubt, go to Olivia Babcock.
And I think they can kind of treat it like that, you know? Pass, set, Olivia Babcock. And I think that's going to be an easy way to make sure you're staying in the game or staying up if you're the Pitt Panthers.
That is a formula a lot of programs throughout the country wish that they had. Pass, set, Olivia Babcock. To the middle goes ECU. Nice work there again. They have used that kind of change-up approach a number of times. That's Alicia Watson, a freshman from Louisville. She has come back from injury here tonight and has made a nice little impact herself.
And you're seeing, too, on the Panther side, with a couple of these new bodies in, you're seeing a little bit more hesitation on some of these balls on defense. Girls kind of looking at each other to make the play. I think that's one of those things that they want to see them get comfortable right now.
Well, how about Watson? 2 big plays in a row from the freshman. And it's tied at 19. And a timeout taken by Pitt. Alicia Watson.
Working overtime right now, all 5'10" of her, working over there on the block to set up with Fran McBride.
Something tells me, Kelsey, that is not a particularly fun conversation that's being had right there in that Pitt huddle. This one perhaps a little bit better, but Adler Augustine, think trying to keep his team focused as well. And he told us, he said, look, we have to stay composed. We can't be wowed by some of the things that Pitt is capable of doing. Early on, I thought they did it. Then they kind of got away from that, and they've been really good at staying focused here in this second set. You see what's on the line here for Pitt. 22 consecutive sets won by the Panthers, and right now, it's a bit contentious.
And you got to think that is, in some small way, for the Panthers, hanging over their head a little bit, wanting to stay perfect, wanting to continue to win every set. And sometimes that can kind of almost lead to overthinking, overplaying a little bit, rather than just being loose and comfortable while you're out on the floor.
And it's not like Pitt has played cupcakes throughout the way. 10th ranked Oregon, played them. 23rd ranked USC, played them, beat them in straight sets. Then Penn State, the 3rd ranked team in the country, on Wednesday in straight sets. So they have not only beaten teams, but they have beaten teams in straight sets all the way through. Trying to continue that run here. Vasquez-Gomez got it blocked, and how about East Carolina? They have taken the lead here in the second set. The Panthers trying to rally back and now tie here in set 2. Alderete with the serve. Babcock off the block. Vasquez-Gomez. And they pancake it back there. Nice work by Alderete. Big swing again from Babcock. ECU buzzing defensively. McBride a little off balance there. Vasquez-Gomez kept alive by the Pirates. Back row and into the net. And a point one as Watson could not come through on that.
Good rally on both sides. Quality defense. You know both of these teams have a huge emphasis on defending well and playing really scrappy, really relentless defense, and you saw that there on that rally.
2020. East Carolina earlier this week at South Carolina. They lost the first set but scored 20 points. Then they fell in the last two, scoring only 9 each, as Pitt with a well-earned point to take the lead. All defense there from Pitt.
And if you are the Pirates, you're probably a little bummed out, but if you are the Panthers, you've got to be thrilled that Olivia Babcock is in the front row right now.
A timeout taken by Adler Augustine. 5th year for him, 53 and 60, but last year he led ECU to its first 20-win season since 2017. And you look by year, his results, 4 and 8, then 9 and 20, 12 and 20, 21 and 11, and so far 7 and 1 this season.
Great start for the Pirates here, and I'm loving the way they play volleyball. Really, really tough on defense, really scrappy, always an effort whenever the ball is going towards the floor. And they've gotten contributions kind of across the board. We're seeing some new girls in who haven't played much this year, getting touches and, coming in, and, Watson, who's 7 in black, kind of putting a jolt in their team right now for the Pirates.
Well, this is the first of what is essentially a 3-day try match. 3 games going to be played here at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Tomorrow, Marquette comes in to play ECU, then Pitt plays a really good team in Marquette. The record maybe not indicating it. They've played some great opponents, have Marquette so far. They're going to be a tough test for Pitt on Sunday here in Pittsburgh. And obviously Pitt will have almost assuredly a couple more pieces back with Fairbanks and Stafford, who have not played tonight, as ECU will tie it up.
And that is the type of offense you want to be running if you are the Pirates. That pass, beautiful, right up to the net. That allows you to pick who you want to set, and that's going to put a lot more pressure on the Panthers' defense.
Alicia Watson, you can see the bench congratulating her. She came back to it. Uzlatepe going to set it up for Babcock, and it's blocked again. Northcross has been sensational on the block. And East Carolina 3 points away from a set victory. The Panthers trying to stave it off. To the middle, they go to Bree Kelly back in, and she ties it. Kelly, the Pitt leader in hitting percentage, .523. Entering tonight's match. Third on the team in total blocks as well. Even at 22, big swing by McBride. Great work by Klicka, who will just pass it back over. Out left side, and a big kill again for ECU, as that is Ellie Pate.
And this is exactly what Coach Augustine wanted to do. He wanted to pass well, he wanted to serve tough, and he wanted to play with speed, getting that ball out to the outside before the Panthers have a chance to set up their defense.
Again, the crowd a bit restless here, but they are getting loud. Trying to throw off Mackenzie Jefferson, and maybe the crowd with a little assist.
They might have done it there.
And Pitt will bring in veteran and Cat Flood. Back line and out. And suddenly, just like that, Pitt has put it to set point as Alderete missed it long. The Panthers have been pushed big time here in set number 2. Flood with the serve just over the net, nearly clipped it, and it's mishandled, and the Panthers make it 23 sets. It was a challenge, but Pitt up 2-0 in the match. All things considered for East Carolina, but they're gonna have to find a way to get it done here as we begin set number 3. They're gonna have to rally, and Olivia Babcock is going to try to prevent that.
Not a bad way to start the set if you are the Panthers with Tori Stafford.
Yeah, Tori Stafford, we should
coming
note,
back in.
She is on the floor here in set 3. We weren't sure if we were going to see Tori Stafford, the preseason All-ACC pick, but she is on the floor here in set 3. I think Dan Fisher, realizing that last set got a little close, doesn't want to play an extra set if he can help it tonight, so he brings Stafford in here for a little extra support around the net. And right now, Pitt off to a good start at 2-0. There is Stafford. What a player she was in year 1, and now into year 2, she has been just as good at 17 kills, 1 attack error against the Nittany Lions on Wednesday. It was the most efficient match of her career with that number of attack attempts. And Pitt right now thriving on the service line with Griffin. Kelsey, you commented during the break, you said, look, Stafford is kind of warming up right now. And she was working with Griffin. We weren't sure if that was going to be the case, and sure enough, it is Stafford back in here, Griffin in as well.
I mean, like you said, you've got to think that Coach Fisher was thinking, if he has a say in it, I want this game and this match to end in 3 sets. And if you think that Tori Stafford's your best way to do it, I think he was comfortable putting her back in.
East Carolina able to break the early Pitt run. Fran McBride.
And now it looks like we've got Blair Bayless coming in, but I guess in this set she's playing for Valeria Vasquez-Gomez instead of Tori Stafford.
Serve down the line. Babcock. Work by Buzla Tepe to dig that out. Babcock, cross court. That one gets through the block attempts. Here is Stafford out wide. Maybe a little too much energy. She thought it was tipped and looked immediately at the officials. No call there.
And this has to be different for her too. How many times do you think she's sat the first two
Right.
sets and then been asked to come in and obviously play at her level that, you know, we are expected to see from her?
It's like bringing in an everyday home run hitter to pinch hit for you. It's definitely a different role when you're coming off the bench, different mentality. Early on, Pitt's hitting percentage was very, very high, up over 500. It just with that kill went over 300 for the match. So I think you credit East Carolina, the way they played defensively. They put a scare into the Panthers for sure in that second set. It was Flood who went back onto the line, though, to end that set for the Panthers. That one missed set, and the back row, Watson trying to keep that alive off the net, and then Pate gave it a run, but didn't work out, and it's 5-2 Pitt.
And if you're the Pirates, you know, early on in this set, you really want to establish your passing early on, getting that ball up to the net so that you have options with who you can set, and preferably getting the ball to all three of them.
Softly served over by Cat Flood. Out to Pate in a big block. Ryla Jones and Olivia Babcock. What a duo. I mean, that trio right there has the potential to be really good for a long time. The three you just saw in that shot that are at the front of the net, Babcock, Stafford, and Jones now in the middle, added to that mix. They are long and super athletic. Really intelligent players for being their age as well. Look at that work by Pitt. Bayless able to get that final touch back over. And she digs it out from Pate. Stafford off balance, was set a little close to the net for her. And Babcock delivers. The crowd loves that. ECU going to use a timeout here, but Flood with the lean.
Love the hustle there. Again, just playing scrappy, not giving up any easy points.
7-2, Pitt on a 4-0 run. You take a look at the sophomore duo from Pitt, Olivia Babcock, Tori Stafford, both of them so exceptional as freshmen last year. Kelsey, they have just kept it going here in year number 2 in Oakland.
They have not slowed down one bit from their phenomenal freshman season. They have continued to dominate, and if anything, they have really grown as well. Kind of started to play, they play with a high IQ. They're big, they're fast, they're physical. There's so little holes to their game, even at such a young age.
Ellie Pate able to get the kill. She's been really good here, Pate has, in this match. Her 8th kill, that leads the team. Out to Babcock, powers it through the block attempt.
Yeah, in that matchup there, you're looking at Olivia Babcock, who stands at 6'5", and then on the other side, Ellie Pate, you're looking at 5'10", so she's also playing, you know, much bigger than her stature in this match.
Big serve, boy, was that really well handled on that back line by Alderete. And now in the middle, Ryla Jones. Big kill, and she has had a major matches this week. Penn State, she was great on Wednesday, and here tonight you see Alderete, the nice dig effort on that exceptional serve. That one a little too much on it.
That's like watching a four-seam fastball with some movement coming at you. It is so, you have so little time to get your platform underneath the ball when it is in play. And you also have such little time to decide, is it going to be in play? Do I make a move on it?
A little baseball reference with the Pirates in town. Mackenzie Jefferson for those Pirates. And that one looked like got tipped on the way over, sure did. And it goes to ECU. They lead the AAC right now in hitting percentage to the Pirates. And they lead an opponent hitting percentage. Really good defense, really good offense. They won their first 7 before losing to South Carolina. Dig their return back over. They go back to Jones. Good defensive work by ECU. Look out, Alderete kind of lost her footing as she went up for the jump, and that's going to provide an opening for Blair Bayless. And just that little bobble there of the feet by Alderete. She could not get into her jump and then could not get back to her spot in time. Right there.
Yeah, just looked like the timing was off there too. She had kind of already taken 2 steps in before the ball was set.
Back row, Stafford. Tori Stafford with the kill there. 76 kills entering tonight's action for Stafford, 9th in the country in kills per set, leads the ACC. And she's efficient as well. Speaking of efficient, that's one way to be just that as Carlia Northcross comes through.
That's where those 3 option passes play such a big role in allowing you to get those middles engaged on the offense, get them nice easy touches where they can get a simple kill just cutting one way around the blocker.
And the serve goes out for Kenzie Beckham. This has been a massive challenge for that man right there, Adler Augustine. This is a guy who got into coaching at the club level at the University of Texas, was coaching both men's and women's club volleyball, and just progressed to becoming a juniors coach in the Austin area, then joined Stephen F. Austin, associate head coach there. They won 3 conference titles and came to ECU, and he's done a great job building this program at East Carolina, as Bianca Garibaldi is in now for the Panthers. First time we have seen Garibaldi tonight.
She has played in a couple sets, a couple sets throughout these matches this season. Played on the Argentinian youth national team, so has played in some big moments, but looking to make her impact here on the Panthers team in this 3rd set.
That serve was from Mallory Meyer as well, who's getting her first action, a freshman out of Nebraska. Carlia Northcross. A little too long. She's had otherwise a very nice night. And I will say, we talked about Adler Augustine. This team from ECU, they are going to be a problem in the AAC for a lot of their opponents. They are going to be a really, really good team in the AAC. I think they've proven that this year. I don't think he was particularly happy with the way that they played at South Carolina. They have played much better tonight in a more difficult environment, more difficult team. They have played better tonight than they did against South Carolina.
Yeah, if you're Coach Augustine, you have to be pleased with what you have seen so far. And also, too, the composure, you know, dropping that first set. You talked about it, that long run to end it, but then to come back in the 2nd set and still be competitive, not be deflated, do not allow what happened in the 1st set to dictate the rest of the match.
Buzlatepe going to set this one up for Babcock. And if you joined us late, Rachel Fairbanks has not played yet tonight. She is in uniform. Would imagine she will be good to go come Sunday against Marquette.
A little bit of a rest day?
A little bit. Load maintenance, is that what they're calling it nowadays?
Yes.
Serve set to the middle, rather. And Alicia Watson with it. She kind of had to hang up there for a moment. That one-handed set.
And that's such a hard play to make as a back row setter, to be grabbing that ball. But these setters at this level make it look so simple, so easy. Just giving it a nice touch to your middle coming in.
The setters make it all go. As the lefty swing of McBride finds the floor. It's a 15-10. McBride started her career at Mississippi State, and she contributed for them. 115 kills over 2 years, had 70 blocks in her time there, 3 years rather, at Mississippi State. Adjusting on the fly there was Babcock. She'll come down to get the first touch on the return. Now Stafford. Good work by East Carolina. McBride got it.
She is so long. She's so athletic. She can high point the ball, kind of get that nice little touch over the block, but also when she brings the heat, she can absolutely rip away. She's really dynamic, and on the right side, you know, she's kind of giving a lot of those same vibes that you can see with the athleticism of Olivia Babcock as well.
There's Stafford down the line and in. Good work by Buzla-Tepe there. She was a little off balance, could not get the two hands up for the set, but was able to just pass it up in the right spot.
And that's kind of one of those features of a setter that, you know, their hands are definitely more important. You want somebody with those really clean hands going to put up a nice softball, but being able to use your platform as well is so important whenever you're out of system, you're running around a little bit.
Buzla-Tepe played all 3 sets against UC Santa Barbara, played well there. She's gotten some time in some other matches as well in replace of Fairbanks. Stafford, the big swing, and a kill for Tori Stafford. Just another major option when she is on the floor for this Pitt team. That's what we've seen here in this 3rd set.
I mean, that's so hard to defend. I mean, Oyar was there, she was in the right spot, but there was just so much heat behind it.
Cat Flood just dropping it off a shelf to give Pitt a 7-point lead. And ECU and Adler Augustine will take a timeout at 18-11. Olivia Babcock has played a big role tonight, leading Pitt. 19 kills for Olivia Babcock, 3 errors on the attack. And Kelsey hitting .552 is Olivia Babcock.
I think you've got to think, for her specifically, these are the type of numbers you want her putting up in a game like this. You want her to be comfortable, loose, but also Tori Stafford didn't play those first 2 sets. There was probably some emphasis. You're going to get a volume of touches from the front row, from the back row. You would be seeing a lot of sets from Buzla-Tepe, and she has handled it very well. I mean, hitting .552, you got to be happy with that.
You would also think, though, at the same time, a lot more touches, but a lot more attention defensively from East Carolina. So you admit, yeah, you're going to get more looks, but you're also going to get more looks by your opponent as well, and I think she's done a good job handling that. And look, you never know. You know, I think right now what we're seeing with Dan Fisher is he's making plans in case something happens right now. If somebody goes down with an injury, if you need to bring somebody else in, he's trying to figure out what he has now, because you don't get the luxury of, you know, a number of preseason games. They played an exhibition game against Michigan. You don't get a ton of preseason games. You see what you have in practice, but I think for him, he wants to see what he has when the lights are on, when it's a Friday night, when the arena or gym is full, and that's what he's been able to get a look at tonight.
Yeah, and I think you would like to think, based on practices, you know what you have out of your players, but it's always a little bit different when the lights come on, when there's a crowd around, and when that Pitt jersey is actually on.
Another good serve by Cat Flood. They cannot get to the set. To the middle, put away by Ryla Jones. She has been really efficient. Her 8th kill. There's a couple of blocks thrown in there as well, does Ryla Jones.
And getting her involved, specifically Ryla Jones, is showing you how well you're passing. If you're getting that ball to a place where Nisa can set the middles, you know that you are passing at a high clip.
She was the 79th rated recruit coming out of high school. If there's 78 players better than Ryla Jones, I would love to see them, because I think sometimes those ratings, you never really know if they're all that accurate, if they're specifically accurate. And I think this is an exception to that, where you look at it and say, she's probably a little bit better than where she got ranked as a recruit, Ryla Jones. She comes from a great volleyball family. Sister Raynell played at Maryland. She's the program leader in blocks. Her twin sister Renee committed to Arizona as well.
And just like that on cue, she gets the block. I mean, and even Coach Fisher talked about it. You know, when you're stepping into a team that's ranked, they're playing, you know, they want to be playing deep into the tournament for a national title. He said she wants to be in these games, in these big moments. She has that mental makeup to want to be in there, and I think that speaks volumes to her as a freshman.
Look out, that ball set back to the top of the net. And it's going to go Pitt's way. 3 Division I and really good Division I caliber sisters. Ryla Jones's family. If you see them at the park, you probably don't want to challenge them to a game of pickup volleyball.
No, that's something I'm shying away from immediately.
Flood. Pitt right now doubling up East Carolina, and they'll extend that, another big block. Well, the talent of Pitt has really started to show here in this third set. They bring Stafford in, and things just look a little bit more smoother, a little bit more efficient against what was a very game East Carolina team in that second set. Flood's had some nice runs towards ends of sets on that service line, and now match point for the Panthers, and a chance for a 24th set victory and an 8-0 record to begin the season for number 1. Hush comes over the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse as Cat Flood serves it up. Fran McBride trying to extend it. Got it blocked, she'll get it back. Another attempt, and she hits it, and the Panthers do it again. 3-0. Pitt has won 24 consecutive sets to begin 2024. Kelsey, what a response there in that third set. A